So if it's okay with you all, we can get started, and then I think we're good with I know that Dan was not, I don't think he was going to be able to make it, Maria. I thought that was, he wasn't able to confirm yesterday, or?
And he is not coming for next week, but for this one, he confirmed.
Oh, okay.
So I just sent him an email. He said that he was going to do it by phone, so I'm wondering.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send a quick text. So Maciel, why don't we get started here? You can share your screen, and that way we can maximize people's time.
Sure. So in front of us right now, we have our agenda for today. We are going to go through an overview of the budget process, and then we're going to go through an overview of the school planning meetings and a draft of the budget priorities. Oh, sorry about that. I thought it would start at the very first slide. So our FY23 budget process starts now. Well, sorry about that. It started a little bit before with the leadership team meeting to discuss our budget priorities, which I will present to you shortly. And then there's a meeting we have right now. And then next week, you will bring it to the bigger board for you to vote on the budget priorities. And then that will go ahead and influence the rest of our process. In January, all the school leaders and our department leaders will have access to my budget file. That happens after the governor releases his first version of the budget. Then in February, we have our school planning meeting that takes place in a span of 2 weeks. We meet with every single department and every single school, and we go through all of their goals. We go through all of their, their budget, staffing needs. You'll see a comprehensive list of what we go through. And of course, you guys are all invited to join as many of those as you're able. In March and April, we will be having 2 hearings when you guys will be able to review and understand our budget book and our entire budget as it is, and then bring it up to the bigger board for a vote. And then in May, we will be able to present that to City Council, and City Council votes on the actual appropriation. So just to take a minute to go over what the goals of this subcommittee are. We will co-create the budget book, provide feedback. That looks like providing feedback on our budget priorities, which is what we're meeting for today, participating in all our subcommittee meetings, as well as attending as many of our school planning meetings as you possibly can attend. And then hopefully you will approve the budget book and then co-facilitate the presentation of the budget book to the rest of the board. So our school planning meetings overview: before the school planning meeting happens, our school leaders will work with their TLT, which is their teacher leadership teams, on making decisions regarding the budget, the school operational plan, their calendar, and developing the school goals for the year. They will review and gather feedback from the SLTs. And then during their school planning meetings, the leaders meet with the school planning committee to finalize their budget. And during that meeting, we assure that goals are in the SMART format and also align with district priorities. We review their calendar and operational plan. We discuss their staffing composition and review any academic and enrichment activities. And we also walk through my budget file with them just to make sure that it is representative of their goals and that their budget supports all of their goals and ops plans and the conversations that they had beforehand. And that's all for right now. So I do want to take a pause to let you ask questions if you have any in regards to the overview that we just had. Okay.
Maciel, I'm sorry.
It's okay, don't be sorry. Hi.
Hi. Are the school planning meetings going to be virtual, or are they going to be on site at central office?
No, we're gonna go with virtual again. It worked out very well last year. I think it was a very effective and efficient format for everyone. So we're gonna continue to do that again.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm glad that you asked, Pat, because we did get feedback from the principals. As you know, the travel time, in addition to the fact that they often bring other members of their school community, facilitates being an inclusive process where they can do that remotely.
Mm.
All right, that works fine. Thank you.
So this is a quick overview of the meeting we had as a leadership team to kind of kick off our budget meetings. So we went through and we discussed what the timeline would be. So that is when the documents will become available to everyone, which will be January 28th. The school, when the due date of all the materials from the school leaders and department heads will be, the department leads will be. So their documents are due to the school planning committee 2 business days before their meeting. That allows us with some time to kind of review, see if they're missing something, and then also give them a chance that, if they're missing something, that they can actually, give them enough time to be able to fix it before they come in. It just helps us all feel good about the meeting. And just have a better use of everyone's time. And then on April 22nd, our school ops plans will be posted and calendar will be posted publicly on our website. The next steps for us is to have my budget file ready by January 21st. That just gives a little bit of time to be able to review it before we actually go live. I will be working with other colleagues to make sure that a lot of the documents that the principals need available are available and updated. And as you can see, the last bullet, Pat, we did make the decision with feedback from the principals to keep the meetings virtual this year. So I do want to take this chance now to pause and if you have any questions.
And also, I just wanted to chime in here about the use of some of these tools. My budget file is an internal infrastructure system that we use to house the information. As you know, with school budget autonomy, our principals also become their mini CFOs. And to facilitate that skill building of a budget, there is a tool that's very friendly for principals, also known as my budget file.
Correct.
Just for a comment, quick comment. I've participated in these for a few years now, and they're very well run and very effective. And I think it gives a real clear picture of what's happening in the schools and how they're aligning to the district goals. So, I look forward to another successful budget season. So thank you, Messiel.
Thanks, Pat. It's awesome to have you guys be part of those meetings. We enjoy it. I think it's helpful for you guys to see the amount of work that goes into it from the department leads and just how much we actually look at every detail with them and make sure that, everything is connected and flows well and makes sense and every piece of it supports each other. So here is a progress update of our current budget priorities, and as well as the recommendation that, as you can see here in the box where if it's a multi-year goal, the recommendation that we keep all of the same exact budget priorities for the following school year, which is the FY 22-23. So student achievement is a multi-year goal as well. And here are some of the details of what we've done to be able to support student achievement around PD, curriculum materials, digital resources we've offered, and some of the partners that we continue to work with. We have new and second year educators, Eureka Math, PD, CKLA implementation. Those are the same curriculum materials that we work with, some of the digital resources that we have been able to provide, Freckle, Imagine Learning, College Board, and we of course continue to work with ANET and science resources and impact coaching partners that we've also worked with in the past. So our second goal around support services will continue to also be another multi-year goal, and I'll explain all the goals in 1 second. They're in the bottom, and they're bulleted at the bottom. But our progress on those goals look like, continued student support redesign. So we've added 72 FTEs and counselors, BCBAs, CNAs, and related service providers. We've been able to strengthen early intervention. We've been able to add programs. We have been able to launch a unified champion schools inclusivity project, meaningful embedding of professional learning. We've been able to launch AAC courses for SLPs and SLPAs, which I will defer to Cynthia if she would like to elaborate on the acronyms and what they actually mean. I'm still working on catching up and understanding everything. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries, Maciel. I think this encompasses a quite comprehensive list of update for you all with respect to what has been accomplished in the past year as it relates to this budget priority. So the idea here is that what you have in front of you, and we can scroll up just a bit, Maciel.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, scroll down. Sorry, you would keep it coming. It continues to be with every goal. What you see on the right-hand side are the things that we have successfully accomplished. Of course, we believe there's so much more. It's why in the middle column, you see the Y as it refers to yes as a multi-year, because in a moment, we're going to be asking you all to support the idea to keep these as a multi-year goal, which will mean that they will remain for a third year for us to comprehensively accomplish all of the goals under the bigger priorities.
And so you will see here that this is the progress we have made on growing a culturally responsive workforce, and also on deepening family and student partnerships. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to review these and would like to ask Cynthia or I questions on any of these specifically.
Yeah, good idea, Maciel. So if anyone has specific questions on any of these initiatives, strategies, and or further questions about the broader goal, we're happy to entertain any questions that you all have. But again, what we've done so far is that internally, the leadership team has reviewed these goals. Yep, thanks, Maciel. And has agreed that because in the past 18 months, 2 years, we haven't fully accomplished everything under this goal, that they remain present for 1 more year. And so with your approval, we can then send these to the full board and get a vote on them. And that will continue to inform our work with the schools, and we'll tie that into other things that are currently happening. As you all know, the turnaround plan, the SOA funding, so it'll be comprehensively connected.
Correct. So here are our goals. We plan on continuing goals under student achievement, support services, growing a culturally responsive workforce, and deepening our family and student partnerships. So I again open the floor to you if you have any questions regarding any of these goals, or would like either Cynthia or I to elaborate on any of this before your presentation to the bigger board next week.
So just to clarify, this is just a general goals that each school will prioritize in requesting different budget line items. Basically they have to align with each of these goals, but for example, additional FTEs or anything, every school will have different budget asks according to their specific needs, right?
Yes. So, sorry, guys.
Yeah. Sorry, Maciel, I can jump in here. That's exactly right, Maria. So
Okay.
an example of this will be, once you all agree that this will continue to be the district-wide goals, We then will say to the schools, here are the goals, and under that, all the very specific initiative strategies. They'll then come to us in these meetings and we'll say, as an example, under student supports, I am requesting a 1.0 FTE for a social worker because that aligns with student support services. And my goal is to continue to provide social emotional support to my students. And then we review that goal against their current caseload, against some of the minutia and the detail of that goal, and we approve, and then that process continues, as an example.
And you'll see it, Maria, directly correlated into some of the forms that they will present during their school planning meetings. If you're able to attend any of them, they actually have to draft up goals with the SLTs, and everything links, just like Cynthia said. It all kind of, all connects for them all the way through. We start with the goals because it feeds the entire rest of the process.
Marcel, could you scroll up the couple of the acronyms I'm not familiar with?
Sure. Let me know when to stop, okay?
I think it was under student support.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, right about here. Cynthia, maybe you could explain the last couple.
Sure. The AC course, Pat, as an example?
Yes.
Sure. So that's augmentative communication systems. You may know this, but 3 years ago, it launched a comprehensive PD and training program for our speech and language pathologists and speech and language pathologist assistants to be able to be well trained for students who need augmentation in their communication. Those devices are very specific to the student, and they need to be programmed for the students' communications needs who are nonverbal. Those devices require that the speech pathologists be very well versed on how to upload all the communication symbols and systems, and even the voice to speech, the speech to text. They require the speech pathologists to do training with the family, with the students, with the teachers, with their peers. And so that's what you see there.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. I'm all set, thank you.
Sure thing, thanks. Ventura, is there anything we can elaborate on for you?
I mean, not in terms of the process overall. I think this is helpful, and having done it for a few years, I think, I feel good about it. I think some of the questions I have, I'm just trying to wait for like when to ask them. Some of the questions I have, I think, more relate to, I guess it's process. So let me ask a few of them now, see if it makes sense. I think first of all, if I'm a school leader, I see these priorities, I'm proposing things. What's the process that is known and understood for how my requests are looked at, considered, reviewed, and hopefully approved or not, and how that process is the same that goes on for every other school and transparent? And, because I can imagine in a system like this, like it's always like, wait a minute, I asked for something, so-and-so down the street, I heard through a text message, got it, and I didn't. Like, so what, just talk to us about that process.
Yeah, happy to do that. And you're absolutely right. In an autonomous district, that's exactly what can happen. In addition, and as a reminder, 3 years ago, that is certainly something that I heard repeatedly throughout my stakeholder engagement, that the perception that some schools got more than others was there. Super tricky in an autonomous district because depending on the needs, school leaders are quite savvy to then use their resources differently. So no one school has the same number of FTEs as it relates to supports, resources, and others. The additional layer here is that we are an equitable district, and with respect to, there might be a tiny little school who needs an additional 5 FTEs, but there might be a larger school who only needs 1 FTE, right? Just because of the needs of our students. So what we do is a very comprehensive analysis of each school. And as I mentioned, including the needs of the students, because we know them very intimately. Every single district leader is at the table, central office leader and department head, who does the comprehensive analysis. And it's why we're fastidious about telling our school leaders that they must come with very concrete rationales for every single ask so that we do understand. And I can assure you that I'm well versed in all of the schools, not only because of my visits, but my colleagues keep me abreast of what the needs are. And school leaders are very reasonable in their request. So we grant almost everything. And when we cannot grant that, we have very specific reasons why. Sometimes it is an issue of funding. Sometimes we give the school leaders a different idea that they may have not thought of. So there's other ways to support the ask. It's not always as an FTE, and it's not always based on funding needs. But the process has gotten refined, and the ultimate tell of equity will be when we do have our earned autonomy framework in place. I think this is why the push for the earned autonomy framework will be extremely helpful, so that there is no room for saying, oh, it's because this school leader advocated more, or this school leader didn't know how to advocate differently, right? But right now we're very mindful of that, Ventura, when they do come, and we make sure that schools leave the process feeling well supported in all of their ask as it relates to their goals.
Great. And so, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, because that is, sort of a question. And can you remind us also, when people are making requests, they're making requests on FTEs, and what are you using as a sort of cost estimate for the FTE? Are we talking actual dollars, or are we talking about just estimates? And again, I guess the question underneath that as well is, I'm trying to get here, how much are school leaders actually getting into the weeds of dollar amounts per, type of experience versus just sort of the district doing that?
Sure. That's a great question. And you may remember that 2 years ago, we actually took care of that to get that off the table. We always ask our school leaders to hire the most experienced person, the person they believe is the right match for their schools. And to do that, what we did was we did away with what was known as salary savings. Salary saving allows for every school leader, every school, to have the person they believe is the right match, independent of how much it would cost the district, independent of that.
Again, and partly, Maria, just to put Mueller, to put you on the spot. I know you're new this year, so I'm trying to also ask questions that I think would be helpful to a new board member in this process, and also coming from a background of charters, which I did as well. So just that's partly also why, and like to remind myself, to be candid too. I'm not trying to front like I'm only asking questions for Maria, but I'll use that as an excuse for a little bit. But then the other side of that question then, Cynthia, and this is just to maybe make sure board members are all on the same page. The fact that a school can hire who they want and is not constrained by, sort of the person they hire based on the amount of money available, this and that. On the other end of that process, though, for a school leader, that means that if I lose a teacher with 20 years of experience mid-year and I'm hiring someone with 2 years of experience, I'm not able to use the savings that I would to then reinvest it in something else.
That is correct.
And I feel like that's just an important thing to underline, just because, again, like that comes up, it is a shift that we made, but just want to underscore that. And I think the other thing I would say just finally here is, and I think it already is being thought about as we talk about the turnaround plan and things like that, is that these are high level and directionally, I think, where we want folks to be thinking about. But I think the question that I would have and people would have is like, where are we trying to get to as a district, with these 4 areas? Like, what's the vision of where we will be, not only this year or this next budget year, which will help it, but like in 3, 4, 5 years, like, so how are the actions that are being supported through this frame at the school level, like in service of what? And I think, again, turnaround plan is a part of that conversation, but I think tying those things together and making it explicit on the front end of this budget cycle will be really helpful, given that we're going to be hopefully renewing a new turnaround plan.
Yeah, that's great feedback, and we're happy to give that some thinking as we discuss it in next week's meeting with the full board.
Okay. That actually takes us through our final agenda item, and we're right on time. It is actually 12 on the dot. So if you have no additional questions, I'm hoping you will bring these priorities to the larger board next week, and we can have them be part of our budget process in the following month.
Again, so the motion we're putting forward is to approve the budget priorities. If you wouldn't mind just putting them back up, just so we have them there when we're voting. But so the motion to the committee is to approve the budget priorities, to then forward them to the full board next week for full approval.
Correct. And if there's anything I can provide to you, Ventura, that would make that a little bit easier for you, just let me know and we'll make sure to get it over.
So these are high level. Is this something that we put out for the public to, I think this is also an opportunity for the public to see what are the schools prioritizing with the funding that we take or that we get. This is super high level and very general. So pretty much anything I can think of falls within any of these 4. Do you think, and this is a very small detail though, but do you think health and safety at this point is going to be like something that verbally, like, or in writing something, I could fit that in a couple of these, but I think, I don't know if we can figure out, and I don't think this is a matter of this vote. I think maybe it's a matter of like later on in the process, a subcategory of like health and safety would be really helpful, especially now as we, COVID is the only thing we think about. And it's taken a huge amount of funding anyways for everybody, not only for the district. And also just, again, language again, it's just student achievement is great, but I think I'm also thinking about student success. So, which can be interchangeable, but I think success is a big word too, that we might want to ask just in our language, just because it goes beyond high school even, in terms of where our kids end. And we're doing a lot of good things internally, actually, at the high school level with the different initiatives that you have right now. So, anyways, that's all. I think these are on point. So that's all I have to comment.
Thank you.
Great. So I will ask for a motion to approve these, and we're just sending them to the full board for consideration and vote on there. So we'll have another at bat here. Pat, Maria, do I have a motion to approve, or to approve these and send them to the board?
So moved.
Yeah.
Can you second that, Maria?
Oh,
it's only 3 of us here, so sorry. All right. So just all those in favor, raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All right. So they have approved. So it just means we're sending them to the board next week with a favorable recommendation, but the full board, including all of us, can discuss them again. If we have new questions, anything like that, that would be helpful. And I think your points, Maria, especially on the health and safety, I think we need to be prepared to talk about that, because you're right, that is a pretty big consideration these days.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your flexibility this week with the timing on this meeting. So thanks again. We'll see you all next week for the larger discussion on these goals.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
You too.